sure you're ready for this?
I'll do my best.
Your best? Losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and the prom queen.
Welcome to the best soccer show. The best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go. Best soccer show, North American Soccer Network, NASN.TV. Jason Davis and Jared DuBois. Live Wednesday night edition of your favorite soccer program from your favorite soccer people. Jared, how you doing?
That was a very Sunday kind of intro.
I kind of felt it, like it kind of came out of me in the second part of that. Like it just naturally happened. I felt like, why not push it a little bit? Why not?
What is it that was Sunday? Was it monster truck shows? Is that what was always on Sunday?
Always monster truck shows. Sundays.
Was wrestling ever Sunday?
I don't think so, but I could be wrong about that. I remember monster truck shows from when I was a kid. It was always, Grave Digger and Bigfoot and all of that stuff.
Did you ever go to one?
I don't think so. I don't think I ever attended.
I'm interested to find out, what is the sporting event of choice that Jason Davis and or the Davis clan would go to as a kid? Like, what was a sporting event you would go to?
Remember that I moved around a lot. Remember that?
Yeah, that's fine.
When I was, third, fourth, fifth grade, my summer was spent entirely at a minor league baseball ballpark. That was my thing. Yeah, like I went to probably, I don't know how many games they had in the summer, but I probably went to 20 to 30 minor league baseball games in a summer. I just loved being in that, just benches and bleachers, nothing fancy. Double A, I think at the time was where was the team where I was living. So that was my summer. I went to a minor league hockey game in Wichita.
A lot of minor league action.
Well, I've never lived in a major league city.
You're always living in like places like Alabama and Wichita and.
Yeah. I don't think there was a sporting event in Alabama. There was.
I grew up in motorsports. Like my dad did like PR for IndyCar teams, and I always like grew up going like to Mickey Thompson like truck rallies and going to IndyCar races. I've been Indy 500. My dad, our vacations in the summer a lot of times were going to IndyCar like races and stuff.
But I don't think I've ever been to a motor race. I've never been to a wrestling event. And I don't think I've ever been to a monster truck rally.
I've been to a monster truck rally.
I did spend a lot of time. For some reason, I spent a lot of time as a kid watching like the tractor pull stuff on ESPN back in the day. I don't know why. Like, why did I watch that?
It's like World's Strongest Man. I will never go pay money and sit in the heat to watch World's Strongest Man, but like, there's something about seeing a dude pull a tractor with his teeth is kind of appealing.
I think that there is something. Maybe the tractor pull not as popular, not as big. Oh, it was World's Strongest Man, and it was the lumberjack games. It was all of the.
That's badass. I would go to that because you might see a dude die. You might see a dude fall 3 stories off a timber.
I just remember watching a lot of that, the hot saw, and they would climb the pole. And
what's your favorite event? I always like the log rolling.
The chopping events, I think, were my favorite. Like they had to chop one side, spin around, chop the other side. Like it was a chopping. I guess that was.
I think the Timbers are missing out on a cross promoting opportunity here. Think about the fact, you got the timber kind of games, and you got foot skills with log rolling. I'd like to see Timbers players compete in a inter squad log rolling competition. Like who can stay on the log, and it's round robin, and then at the end, Diego Valeri wins.
That would be fantastic. And how they Timber Joey's out there cutting the slices for every goal, but and I don't know, is he an actual does he have actual lumberjack?
Yes. Could they sponsor him to get into the lumberjack games?
I don't know. Those guys are
honestly, if Timber Joey can't compete in lumberjack games, isn't that kind of like, come on, are you really a timberman?
That's what I'm saying. Like, should we be questioning Timber Joey's credentials right now?
It should be whoever wins the log games or whatever it is they call them. Whoever wins that every year becomes the new Timber Joey for 1 year.
The log, yes, open competition, yes. Lumberjack competition for the right to be timber whatever at Portland Timbers games. Why aren't we in the business?
I don't know, man. You would think that someone would pay for this by now.
It should be happening. Yeah. So World's Strongest Man, lumberjack games, monster trucks. We're here to talk about soccer. We will talk about soccer. I think we may broach the Smokey and the Bandit homage Archer at some point. Have you not seen it yet?
Oh yes, I think it's the best one of the season so far.
Oh, I think it's fantastic. 304, you're on the air.
Hey guys, it's Matt from West Virginia.
What's up, Matt?
Hey, I was wondering what you guys think about Julian Green joining our U.S. men's national team camp, because I don't remember you guys talking about it in the last show, so I thought I wanted to hear what you guys' thoughts were on that, and I'll hang up.
All right, thanks for the call, Matt. We definitely addressed it. Okay, now I talked to Brian Sciaretta from Yanks Abroad a couple days ago. Maybe that was yesterday, as a matter of fact, and his words were that he doesn't believe U.S. soccer has ever pushed as hard for a dual international as they're pushing for Julian Green. Okay, but at the same time, with him training and with the team ahead of the Ukraine game, my 3 words are slow your roll. Just slow your roll. It doesn't mean anything yet until he is a senior professional player, which could come as early as this fall, and B, ready to announce his choice. I mean, it's great that
let's clarify a moment. When you say slow your roll, who are you talking to? You talking about fans? You talking to U.S. soccer? Who are you talking to?
The fan. I'm telling the fans to it's a thing that's happening. Just put it to the side. Don't put any stock into it. It means that they are going.
You realize that if Joe Jackson had slowed his roll, we may never ended up with the Michael Jackson, the King of Pop. Someone told him, "Don't push that kid so hard."
No, that's a different maneuver. But oh, I see what you're saying.
My man it drilled that kid into being a professional.
No, I get you. And Tiger Woods' dad. Look, again, my issue here isn't that Julian Green's not a talent. And it's not that the fans shouldn't be excited about the possibility. Is that he doesn't really. He's not material to the moment, if you know what I'm saying. Julian Green's not going to the World Cup with the USA. It's just not happening. He's 19 and hasn't played in a senior game yet. Now he's at Bayern Munich. That's very, very difficult. I get it. He's going to have to go out on loan to get time, or they're going to sell him, but probably a loan. Let's wait until that.
There's no game to cap him in officially until the World Cup. You would have to cap him in a World Cup game.
That is the dumbest first cap ever. If you take him to the World Cup just to cap him because you think he might be something, he's still raw enough. And again, you can be excited about his potential, but that's all he is right now. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. 414, you're on the air.
Hi, this is Vincent from Milwaukee, and I just had a question for Jared about the second team in LA. And does he think that will it be well attended, and will the Hispanics show up for the second team?
I think the Galaxy 2 will be very successful in LA. Is that not what he's asking?
No, he's not asking about Galaxy 2.
Honestly, to sidestep the answer a little bit, because obviously it's a hypothetical, but it's really going to depend on the approach, the identity, the damage control that this team does, how they're going to market themselves. There's a lot to be said, and not to jump the gun and change topics real quick, we do have the Chivas on the rundown today. Talk about the fact that Nelson Rodriguez has been named the president of the team. Interesting question though for you, Jason. So Nelson Rodriguez goes from being the number 2 man in MLS. I believe he's the number 2 man in the league, somewhere in that range.
He was a big guy.
He's like a senior VP. Usually there's senior VPs of a number of different categories.
Yes.
And goes to being president of Chivas USA. Is that Jason Davis a promotion?
Based on the city, the club, what's happened with that team, yes, it's a promotion. Yes.
I'm not so sure, because here's how I think it goes down. Nelson, how'd you like to live in California? Oh, that sounds swell. And run Chivas.
Okay. But here's the thing. He was announced as having left MLS not too long ago, or left.
I missed that. Did he really?
Yeah, there was an announcement that he was leaving MLS HQ. I thought that's what happened. And now
I know about Nelson Rodriguez revolves around the fact that he's the guy that does the schedule.
Yeah, I think he was the competition guy. Go ahead, Vincent.
Hey, Jared, do you think the Galaxy will ever reach the attendance that it had with David Beckham?
I think the Galaxy is still getting the attendance. I mean, it's a 27,000 seat stadium, and I mean, they're not going to sell out the Rose Bowl or anything like that. And I don't know if Galaxy's going to get the same attendance on the road that it got before, but in terms of at home, yeah, I think they can easily put average 25,000 or so a year in that stadium without David Beckham. Now, are they going to make the same money? No. They're not going to sell as many jerseys? No. There's going to be a lot of things they're not going to have with David Beckham, but attendance? I'm not worried about attendance. LA Galaxy was the best attended team before Seattle joined, and I think they'll be one of the best attended teams for going forward. They have a really good foothold on the market in LA. I will be interested to see if the new team, whatever it is, decides to go after the Galaxy's current market or try to establish one for themselves. Because you saw Chivas try to establish one for themselves and was unsuccessful. We'll have to see which direction this team wants to go in competing with LA. Yeah.
Thanks for the call, Vincent. Thanks for holding it down in Milwaukee, man. Thanks a lot. By the way, phone number 201-430-2378. Haven't even given it out yet. Already people getting in. Call us with anything. Call us with any thoughts you have on any topic whatsoever, within reason. I mean, stuff that you think we know about and care about, right?
What do you think about MLS exec turning club president? It's the second time it's happened this season.
It's a club. It's a league run team right now. I
feel like it's like Goldman Sachs. Like eventually you're going to become chairman of the Fed, and then you're going to cut deals that are beneficial to Goldman Sachs. It just seems like it's so incestuous.
But he's going to be a league guy because it's a league-run team. I don't understand what your issue is. Nelson Rodriguez checks a lot of boxes.
Where's the personality for this team if it's just going to be the league, towing the league line all the time?
2014 is a lost year.
Do you think Garth Lagerwey is towing the MLS line?
No. Why?
Okay. I'm saying there's guys that run teams that are not necessarily league guys.
It's a league-owned team. That is the major factor here.
You're saying no matter what, this is a short-term contract for Nelson Rodriguez. Once there's an owner, they're going to pick their guy, and he's out.
Maybe that is up to the new owner. I'm saying that he is a placeholder. He's the guy. He's this when a business goes under and he's
the wolf.
Well, I suppose you could
send in the wolf. That's all you had to say.
So are you giving Nelson Rodriguez the name right now? Are you gonna?
He's not cool enough to be Harvey Keitel. Come on now.
All right? I'm just saying. All right, 905. You're on the air.
Oh, hey guys.
What's up, Vince?
Hey guys. Yo, Jared. I like your El Salvador shirt. It looks pretty nice.
I think that's. Yeah, that's
Salvador. Represent. I wore this on 4th of July like 3 years ago. It's bumpy pitch.
The rest of the El Salvador national team.
That's a bumpy pitch shirt, dude.
Really? Oh, it looks just like the crest.
I'm not gonna lie though. Some of the best cooks in Southern California are El Salvadoran though.
Yeah. What's on your mind tonight, Vince?
I got two questions for you guys. Yesterday during the Olympiacos Man United game, there was that great convo that all the media was having with Grant Wall over Joel Campbell and the presence of or the lack of presence that Americans had in the Champions League. Mm-hmm. I know, Jason, you were of the mind that it's not necessarily a competition that the U.S. is having with the other CONCACAF nations. I wanted to get Jared's perspective on this because he's like Jason, you seem to be more like level-headed, but I know Jared. He's got some good opinions usually.
Okay,
so I wanna,
all right, yeah.
I want to hear what he has to say.
Fair enough. Let Jared.
On the absence of Americans in the CCL, I mean the UEFA Champions League.
Okay, let me see if I can pull. The actual tweet from Grant Wall. Essentially,
because I work during the day, I don't see any of this stuff.
Okay, Joel Campbell, Arsenal player from Costa Rica, on loan at Olympiacos, scored the second goal in Olympiacos' win over Manchester United. In the aftermath of that goal, Grant Wall got on Twitter and he said, he said essentially, I'm trying to find the actual tweet because I'd be curious to get your. I mean, I want to be accurate.
This kind of stuff I miss, man. The working man can't keep up on this kind of stuff.
Okay, essentially, he said, should it bother American fans that Joel Campbell is scoring in the Champions League round of 16 and there are no Americans doing that, or something to that effect? Should it bother American soccer fans, Jared?
No, because their team still qualified in first place ahead of Costa Rica in the World Cup qualifying. Now, that's a simplistic view of it, but as far as I'm concerned, Americans shouldn't be worried as long as the quality of their national team is high enough to win in their region and compete at the World Cup. Now, eventually, there may be a watershed moment where because we haven't invested in these type of players and these players aren't there, that we start falling behind. That moment isn't now, but it could be in the near future. I will say that I am remiss on the fact that there is no that Clint Dempsey missed, that he didn't get to when Tottenham missed and didn't get into the Champions League. He didn't get to make that jump. I'm remiss that Michael Bradley didn't spend an extra year at Roma, and who will probably see a Champions League spot this year and going into next year and could have competed. I think those are misses by the U.S., but I don't find them to be stumbling blocks that the U.S. can't somehow get around and still compete through. The U.S. has been competitive, if not dominant in some respects, without having that player in our region. Mm-hmm. And when I say that, the reason I'm talking about in my region, because we're having a conversation about a Costa Rican player. Right.
Here's the just to be accurate, give the full story. Grant Wall, should U.S. fans be concerned when Costa Ricans are showing CONCACAF can excel in Champions League knockout rounds and no U.S. players are there? My response was no. My simple one-word response was no. I'm
more concerned that Americans aren't getting a shot to play for those teams.
That was part of my thing. Now remember, Jermaine Jones was out Schalke. Schalke is a knockout round team right now, and he's been there. He scored goals in the knockout rounds in the past. It's not. It's like, and I know he wasn't developed here, but he's still.
But that's not the type of player that Grant Wall's talking about.
No, he's probably not.
Not to put words in his mouth, and I apologize for that. But that's how I'm taking it.
No, I'm with you. I'm sure he means players who were developed through a U.S. system, and I think there are so many other factors involved, and this isn't an excuse. That this goes back to the Jurgen Klinsmann discussion about belief, the Michael Bradley response about Americans and the attitude towards Americans, and how all these things kind of coalesce into keeping. And look, again, the other thing is, it's not like there aren't players, U.S. players, U.S. developed players who are at clubs that are on a similar level to Olympiacos. Now, year to year,
is Sasha Kljestan not at the same level?
Essentially, I'm not saying Anderlecht is better than.
Granted, he's not on loan from a EPL contending champion like Joel Campbell is, but the level is fairly similar in terms of, you're talking about Anderlecht competes in the Champions League normally, and Olympiacos obviously is a perennial Greek team that makes an appearance. But they're both getting into the Champions League through kind of back doors, versus EPL is one of the best teams in the entire world is getting in. You have to go through a lot of tougher competition to get into the Champions League if you're going through England, Germany, Spain, or Italy.
Yeah, you're talking about the best team in fairly weak leagues. Vince, you got another question?
Yeah, guys. Just quickly, like for me, I like CONCACAF as a region as a whole. So CONCACAF's doing well. Good region equals good teams. That's my frame of mind when it comes to this thing. But I just wanted to ask you guys a question, because I don't know anything about this, but I was like doing some like random trivia searching, and Brett Hengeland, the Norway captain, he was born in the U.S. I just want to know if
Texas,
you guys,
if I remember,
to recruit him to play for the U.S. U.S. national team.
He was born in Texas. My understanding on the Brett Hengeland situation is he had no interest of ever playing for the.
He's already been capped, I believe.
No, he's capped. He's locked up, and that's been the case for a long time. But I think that even going back to, because he was sort of Aaron Johansson before Aaron Johansson, only for whatever reason, Johansson was open to playing for the U.S., whereas Hengeland never had any inkling to do so. He never thought of himself as American in any way, shape, or form, and it would have been wasted effort.
I'm not gonna lie, it would have been nice.
And you know who else was born in the U.S.? Boaz Myhill. Myhill, excuse me. Myhill.
Oh yeah, you former Fulham player as well, correct?
Yeah, not nothing special, not any better than the keepers we got. So don't, it's not a big deal though.
You know who else was? Nebet Subotic and Giuseppe Rossi.
New York. I don't remember his name, but he plays for Japan.
That has come up as well. Yes.
He's pretty good actually.
I can't remember that.
The U.S. never tried to get him.
I'm sure that all of these guys have either gotten phone calls or letters or been approached on some level, and if they haven't, then there were specific reasons for that not happening. Look, there's only so many resources. Thanks for the call, Vince. I appreciate it, man. There are only so many resources that U.S. Soccer or Klinsmann staff or whoever is doing this job has. And, maybe I guess they could be going to the Yanks Abroad message boards on Big Soccer to find these guys and give them a call.
I used to do it back in the day.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, on some level, what you got might be better than, this is the unattainable. It's just like you with the kids. I mean, And what's
phrasing?
Saying potential always seems better than what you have, right? The grass is always greener. The grass is always greener.
Why do you think I check out chicks when I have sunglasses on?
I don't even know what that is. That gonna okay?
Actually, I totally got caught the other night checking out the booty on the waitress on Sunday at lunch. I was there with my family and a couple that's a friend of ours, and I totally got caught checking out because I wasn't wearing sunglasses.
Oh man, see that's a rookie mistake.
I lost my sunglasses. I looked them at a homie's house, and I don't have them right now, so I got to stop my booty looking.
Okay, there's a lot of ways to handle that situation. Apparently, you did not know how to.
But here's the thing about these kids that are dual nationals, possibles. If you land Julian Green, you've potentially invested your energy the right way, because you are potentially getting in on the ground floor of what could be a really good player. I don't want to waste my time going for the Boaz Myhills, and there's a certain. Britta Hagelin would have been a great. Britta Hagelin would have started on the U.S. team and been probably one of the best defenders we ever had. Maybe I just rate him high. I'm a huge fan of him.
No. He would have. There would have been a period where he certainly would have started. I don't think there's really a whole lot of argument there. I mean, whether his window was very long is a different question. I mean.
But it goes back to the whole same as Aaron Hansen, Timothy Chandler. How committed would he be? That's the thing that everyone was going to talk about. Even Julian Green, how committed is he going to be? When he's making transatlantic flights for World Cup qualifiers. You saw what it did to Timothy Chandler, and he may regret it now. I don't know, but
he's never going to play for Germany. I mean, that's the reality for a guy like Timothy Chandler. He's never going to play for Germany. And we've had this discussion. And I told you, while it's great to get these dual internationals, Timothy Chandler, Terrence Boyd, blah blah blah. The real test for the U.S. in that war or fight or whatever you want to call it, it doesn't really rise to that level. But the real test is when the United States poaches a player from Germany who would or may have a real shot at playing for Germany. Maybe
why is it poaching? Maybe we're the team they want to play for.
Okay, but again, the team that's
an American mindset.
No, it's not. The country that does the poaching is the country where the kid didn't grow up. That's being poached.
Oh, so Italy poached us.
You could argue that Italy poached us. Yeah,
no one thinks about it that way.
No,
everyone says Giuseppe Rossi turned his nose at us. Okay, we don't talk about Italy poaching the U.S.
That's a slightly different situation because he left so young. I mean, I'm talking about guys that if you grow up and you play into here until you're 17, 18, 19 years old. Then you go abroad or whatever, or then you start your pro career, and your parents' country comes in and quote unquote poaches you. Then yeah, I'm going to put that label on it. I think that's right. I think it's fair.
Okay, but I've never heard anyone argue it that way.
Well, okay, these players are.
I like your way though, because in your universe, Italy needs us.
Well.
To develop their talent for them.
If the guy could stay healthy.
I feel bad for the guy. I don't have the hate that everyone else has. I mean, I honestly feel he does good things for Americans every time he succeeds. It's just in a roundabout way. Right. I mean, technically, he may be the most successful American at a club. Can you think of a more successful club talent than Giuseppe Rossi? Well, I'm not talking trophies or anything, but in terms of what he has been at the level he's been able to play at, has there been a better American that's ever been able to play at a high level?
No, he's probably reached the highest. I mean, you could make an argument if you want to split hairs that Tarundelo's time at Hanover has been more fruitful, and
Striker's always going to get the more sexy love.
That's absolutely true. You score goals, you get the headlines, and when you score goals for clubs that are competing for Champions League spots, then you get even more. Yes, of course.
Does Giuseppe Rossi, does he qualify to ever get a nomination to the U.S. Soccer Hall of Fame?
No. I don't even think he would meet the criteria.
What's the criteria? Do you just got to be born here, right? Or do you have to actually have a cap for the team?
No, I think you have to have. There's a criteria. Because we got Hall of Fame to talk about actually because we got 3 people who have been elected. We'll go through those. There is a criteria.
Hold on though. Isn't part of if he comes back to MLS and he plays here at the end of his career, Marco Echeverri, there's all these guys that get that the also ran the not from the US entry.
Yeah. No, I know that you could make Jaime Moreno and guys like I get that, but that's I just don't think that's he would meet the criteria on that level. I mean, he'd have to be here for 10 years.
Anyone ever vote? Let's see he meets the criteria. Would he ever get enough votes? Is he that well liked and or hated that he would ever get enough votes to get in?
He would never get enough votes on principle, not because people don't like him or don't like his decision or just on the fact that he hasn't been a crucial part of U.S. soccer.
That's what I said. Let's say he comes back and listen. And if I'm the Cosmos, I'd try to get Giuseppe Rossi when he gets back from injury.
Well, okay, here you go. It's already over. Okay. Here's your eligibility criteria.
Okay.
Let's see. In order to meet the eligibility criteria, a player must have met number 1 and either 2, 3, or 4. Okay. So number 1 is must be retired for 3 years. Blah blah blah. That's just standard.
Okay, that's anyone.
Can't be elected while you're still playing. Number 2. Player must have played at least 20 full international games for the United States. Okay, the 20 game requirement reduced to 10 if you played before 1990. That's obviously not going to be an issue. Player must have played at least 5 seasons in an American First Division professional league and been a postseason league all-star at least once.
Ooh.
Okay. And number 4, played at least 5 seasons in the major indoor soccer league. Blah blah.
Now.
Doesn't apply because that's old school stuff. So
okay, so right now, Giuseppe Rossi is 27 years old. Okay,
yeah.
27 years old and going to be returning from injury soon. Let's say that Fiorentina or another European club doesn't want to take a chance on a guy that's been injured this much, despite the fact how well he's been playing. He comes back to MLS. If you're NYCFC, is it Giuseppe a good target for you?
No. Yes, he is, but no, it's not gonna. He's not gonna play 5 years here at a high enough level and be important enough to the league that he will ever get consideration for U.S. soccer, and that's even forgetting for the U.S. Soccer Hall of Fame, and that's even forgetting all of the stuff that came before, because of course it's going to be held against him that he decided to play for Italy over the United States. That's just human nature. Nobody's going to vote him in. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. I don't know where did this come from. This is the wackiest J. Rodia's idea ever.
It's not wacky. It's mathematically possible.
Okay, yes. Technically, it might be possible.
I'm just saying, you got a high-profile team, New York team, coming in next year that has the cash to splash and wants a good striker. Giuseppe Rossi is a New York boy, New Jersey boy.
You know, I will say this. I will say this, that it's a good thing that there's not a physical location for the U.S. Soccer Hall of Fame right now, because if at any point Giuseppe Rossi was elected into it, somebody would burn it to the ground. Somebody would burn it.
That's kind of polarizing like that.
The ground. It would not be a pretty sight. All right, look, I had no intention to discuss the Hall of Fame credentials of Giuseppe Rossi. Imagine the future in a post-apocalyptic American soccer future.
You say that now. You hate the fact I found an actual loophole to get him in.
No, it's not a loophole. It's not a loophole at all. Speaking of American soccer phenoms, I got to touch on Freddy Adu. He goes to Blackpool. He's training with Blackpool. Apparently, he's on trial. Word out today, not going to get a contract. He's still going to train there to get his fitness up, I guess, to go on to the next spot and perhaps try to get a contract. I find this interesting for a couple of reasons, Jared. It's no surprise that Freddy Adu is not getting a contract at Blackpool. That doesn't shock anybody. What surprises me is they put him out. They put him front and center and did videos about him and all of that. Like, why do you do that with a trialist? And number two...
It's called page views.
No, I realize that. I'm saying he's being used now. Freddy Adu's being used.
At what age did Freddy Adu not get used?
It's a good point. He's 24. It's 10 years later, and he's still getting used for that name.
By Blackpool.
Well, by anybody. It doesn't really matter.
He's always been a guy whose name has been worth more than what he's done on the field, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that's very, very cynical probably and mean to say about him, but I think it's completely defendable to say that at no point has Freddy Adu ever actually met the expectation that's come along with his name. So at this point, and you just today, I believe it was today, you had the general manager or the president for Cosmos on the line today?
The chief operating officer, Eric Stover.
Chief operating officer, and you asked him point blank, "Are you guys interested in Adu?" And he said, "Last season we were. Now it's not an option for us." So even at the NASL level, a team that has the money to bring him in,
I think
isn't thinking about doing it.
I think that's a cost thing. I just think. I mean, the Cosmos aren't gonna. They may have money. That doesn't mean they're gonna spend irresponsibly. And I imagine that right now, Freddy Adu's demands are still significant enough that he doesn't make sense for the Cosmos. That's what I'm guessing. And if he doesn't make sense for the Cosmos, I don't see him landing in NASL at all. there's no. I don't imagine an MLS return is anywhere on the table, considering the way things went in Philadelphia. What does he do? I came up with this idea this morning. He's gonna have to wander the earth like Kane and Kung Fu and
here's the crazy thing. Freddy Adu has to go through the allocation process. Oh wait, no, or does Philly still own his rights?
I don't know. I don't think anybody cares because he's not coming back. He's not coming back. We were surprised he ended up back here with Philadelphia in the first place. So I guess nothing would be.
I do like your Kwai Kang Freddy idea though, where he just walks the earth like Shane, like.
Yeah, there are two ways to do this. Either you do it that way and maybe fictionalize it a bit, not make it about Freddy Adu, because you can't really like.
He stops in Midwestern towns and solves problems by kicking a ball at him.
Or you kind of do it. You kind of do it as a, not that you want him hosting. Maybe you don't want Freddie hosting. I was gonna say you do it as a no reservations type of show, where it's just Freddie popping up.
No signed contract.
No expectations. Freddie Adu arriving in some country, trialing, sampling the local flavor, the food. Maybe.
Everything but playing soccer.
Yeah. And I mean, at this point, that's not the interesting part anymore. 678, you're on the air.
Thoughts of Adu? There's an article I think by Grant Wall put out recently about Ronaldo making a comment about Adu being the Silverbacks or something like that. What are your thoughts? I'll hang up and listen.
Whoa, I have not heard that one.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
If Eric Ronaldo is going to bring Freddy Adu to the Atlanta Silverbacks, that's my new favorite reality show.
I think that is deserving of a reality show. I think the amount of perceived disrespect and perceived undue given to those two guys in their own minds would be absolutely fantastic to watch.
Now I have a reason to use this. My exploding sound effect. It just would
sounds
be
more like a bass drum being hit a couple times.
It's a little bit. I don't know. It's just something. 618. You're on the air.
Hey guys, this is Mark.
What's up, Mark?
I know this is kind of random, but do you guys remember the not last Gold Cup, but 2 Gold Cups ago? Do you remember Freddy Adu just playing really well in that Gold Cup?
Yeah, no. Jared said at no point has Freddy Adu ever met his met the expectations or the hype. And I said one ball in the Gold Cup
against Mexico.
I believe it was against Mexico. Set up either the first or second American goal. Though that's the one moment he's had in a U.S. shirt, because he's never done it on the club level, where it was look at what
at
Freddie
the full U.S. level. At the full, he had a great U20 tournament.
Right. I mean, at the senior level, yes, he dominated in Canada on turf against young guys. Yeah, this is different. I mean, that one moment was different, and that's why people still cling to Freddie Adu. That it's less now, especially since he can't get a contract. But as recently as the Union days, people were still clamoring. He's a different kind of player. The United States doesn't have that guy in the makeup or in the team. They don't have the creative talent of Freddie Adu, and that we need Freddie Adu. No.
I feel like about Freddie Adu how Wesley Snipes feels about Jimi Hendrix. I feel there's a whole group of people that say, like, you just can't hear Freddie. Like, we can't understand Freddie because in America we don't understand creative talent. Yeah. So like we all look at Freddie and we see a high maintenance guy that just that can't meet expectations. When in actuality we can't understand his level of creativity and talent.
Yeah, but that was Sydney who you put Wesley Snipes. I thought you were going to talk about like taxes and paying government taxes or something.
No, did I put him in the Woody Harrelson role? I'm sorry, it's the opposite.
No. You said the way that Wesley Snipes feels about Jimi Hendrix, and that character feels that way. I don't know that Wesley Snipes actually feels that way.
Sorry, I could have come up with Leslie off the top of my head.
Sydney.
Sydney. Wow.
The other thing, the flip side of that, to the Freddie Adu equation is, I think you're right. There are those people who say you can't understand Freddie. He's first of all, maybe always been put upon, maybe always been, as we were talking about with Blackpool, leveraged and used and pushed out there. The other side of the other people who say Freddie Adu, first of all, squandered his ability, never really tried hard, complete wasted space, and also that he's 34 years old. Those are the other people on the other side. He fills the whole spectrum up. And there's never been a player who does that in U.S. soccer history. This is what the one thing you can say about Freddie Adu. He splits people's opinions both ways. You got anything else, man?
Yeah. No, I just, I thought it was really odd, how he played. He got that one ball, I think it was to Donovan in like the semifinal game against Panama or something.
It was
And
like
then then he starts against Mexico, and he actually didn't play that awful.
It was
So,
like
I don't know. I
a
thought it was weird.
60-yard thanks for the call, man. 60-yard diagonal on a dime, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
That
Beautiful ball. He had a really good tournament. He had a very good tournament. So good that when there were rumors that Bruce Arena was going to sign him for LA, I was kind of okay with it, to be honest with you. I was convinced. I was like the chick that's hooking up with the husband that's married. He's gonna leave her for me. Like he's gonna change. I was convinced he was gonna change.
Oh, he's definitely the bad boy of American soccer. He's the one that everybody thinks my team or our team or the right situation, he'll change for us.
Yes.
We can make him into what we want him to be. Just give us time with Freddie. It hasn't happened yet. It has.
And he shows you.
Now he's just going to be training with Blackpool while he waits for another opportunity, and he'll get it. Somebody will give him a trial. It may not work out again, but if you had to put money on it, and this is a terrible bet because who knows, if you had to put money on where Freddy Adu will actually get a contract, what would you say?
Sweden.
Right? Okay. I'm going to say that he's going to end up in the Middle East somewhere. I know that's general. It's like UAE, just to pin it down.
I think they can pay him the money he wants, and they'd be willing to pay for enough of a name, an American, like might give him listen, would you pay attention? First of all, how many names in the UAE can you even name? Team names can you name? Any?
I would try, but I might get the country wrong. I might be naming.
Okay, but still, if Freddy Adu went there, all of a sudden you would know, everyone else in the U.S. soccer circle would know who it is, where he's playing, and probably have to pay somewhat of attention to that league for a little bit, right?
Yeah, I don't know how much that is worth to them, but yeah, notoriety can't hurt. I mean, you can't.
Everyone wants to succeed in the U.S., baby.
If Freddy Adu's demands, if his salary demands are like $500K, you got oil money coming out your ears. Go ahead, spend it. Who cares, right?
Yeah,
there's a UAE that signed up Diego Maradona just to run around the country and be like their sporting.
Are they paying him like $4 million to call games or something like that?
I don't know. He's all over the place. Diego Maradona. He's hilarious. Love that guy.
I wish I could get a job like that.
Speaking of we were talking about Hall of Fame. About the Hall of Fame, Giuseppe Rossi will never be in the U.S. Soccer Hall of Fame, but three people who will be
on that one.
3 people who will be in the U.S. Soccer Hall of Fame this year: Christine Lilly, Brian McBride, and Bob Bradley. Those are your 3 elected people for the Hall of Fame this year. The 3 elections.
Coaching criteria. If you're still an active coach, why are you already getting in the Hall of Fame?
It's a builder thing. I don't know. That's the official. They call him a builder. Bruce is in, right, as a builder. Bruce is already in as a builder. I guess. I mean, when you're a coach, it is a little bit different. But all 3 of these people, there's no arguments about them, right?
No, I think if you're going to pick a builder / coach, something like that, and if Arena's already in, I don't know if Ziggy Schmid's always already in or not. If not, he probably will be or should be. And then Bob Bradley is definitely. There's 3 names when you think of U.S. coaching. It's Bruce Arena, it's Ziggy Schmid, and it's Bob Bradley. And I'm kind of remiss that Ziggy Schmid never got his chance. You would have thought in the 90s would have been a great time for Ziggy Schmid to get a shot at it. Now the U.S. has passed Ziggy Schmid, right? Ziggy Schmid's never going to get a chance at the U.S. job now, right?
I don't think it's ever coming back around in his direction. No, unless it's a completely emergency situation, and then he would end up having to leave a club because he's always going to have a club job. So we're in the phase where it's either going to be internationals now, and I'm not sure that we've really broken through that barrier with Klinsmann. He doesn't really. And
count. If it is going to come back to American, it's going to be someone like a Jason Kreis or Caleb Porter.
It'll be Kreis or Porter or somebody like that. Absolutely. In fact, you could argue that if it's past Siggy by, it's probably past Dom by as well. Do you think it's past?
Yeah, definitely. Dom Kinnear's time is past as well. And it kind of sucks that we don't put Dom in that same conversation because he's totally worth it on paper. Right, totally worth it on paper. But I don't know why. For some reason, I don't think people hold Dom Kinnear in the same regard as the other 3. Because I guess at certain times, Ziggy Schmid teams and Bruce Arena teams have dominated the league. Can you really say that about Dom Kinnear teams? They've dominated trophies. They've gone to certain heights, but I don't think at any point people consistently looked at his teams as the best team in the league.
No, I think you're probably right about that. I
don't mean that to slight him. And if I'm wrong, I apologize. Someone call in and correct me. But that's just how I perceive it.
And here's the thing about Bruce has got trophies on trophies on trophies, and Siggy's got his pair. and Dom's got his. You mentioned Bruce and Siggy kind of putting out teams that either dominated or were acknowledged as the best teams in the league in the years that they were good. Dom probably has, in terms of what you want out of a national team coach in those big moment games, in those big games, a lot of pressure, he probably has a better resume than Siggy does.
In terms of what he's achieved?
Because okay, the regular season is whatever it is. It's a way to get into the playoffs for Dom Kinnear and the Dynamo. Then when they get there, they do damage in that short one-off tournament. All of those games with the big pressure, win or go home. Now there's some of them aren't that way now, but he's got a history of win or go home. He's been successful. Who do you want in a World Cup? A guy who won a supporter shield but fell flat in the playoffs, or a guy who wins in the playoffs?
A guy that finishes the race.
Yeah, the guy who gets it done when the games matter the most.
But here's the thing about Dom Kinnear. If he's going to get the job done at the national team level, he would have to play Bob Bradley and Bruce Arena style ball, right?
Yeah, probably.
That's my only thing. And there's a lot of people in this country that aren't ready to go back to that.
Maybe not, but you would think that would be his default setting. I think that's where we're at now. Is we want a coach whose first instinct isn't to play that way.
That's the allure of Jason Christ. That's the allure of Caleb Porter.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Caleb Porter and Jason Christ are the two hottest names on that ticket because they seem to have evolved past the tried and true 4-4-2.
Yeah,
right.
I completely agree with that. I think it's the direction the country wants to go. Every decade or every generation has a fad and a theme to it, and I think 4-4-2 is the most out of style thing going on in soccer right now. And Americans are at least savvy enough to realize that the results that people are getting overseas and the results that the best teams over there are getting are played out of a 4-3-3. So they assume it must be played here. Whether that's true or not, I mean, I'm still a lover of the 4-4-2 myself, but I think that Americans are savvy enough to at least see the trend. And the trend is Christ ball, Porter ball. It's not the Bob Bradley, Bruce Arenas, and Dom Kinnear ball that has been statistically successful, but hard on the eyes. Is that fair? Or is that too rough?
Well, I think there's just this sense that it's a simpler way to play, and that the more intricate, more complicated ways to play indicate our development as a soccer nation, right?
Isn't that the worst use of Michael Bradley ever, though? If you think about how Michael Bradley was used by his dad, and maybe it's just he wasn't the player he is now. Yeah. But isn't that the worst use of Michael Bradley is to say, sit behind the ball and disrupt all the time?
Yeah, no, probably. Yeah, he's a much better two-way player. But here's the thing about Bob Bradley, and people need to remember this. Bob Bradley didn't just stick. Part of the reason Bob Bradley got fired is because he was trying to change things and fell and gave up too many goals against Mexico in the Gold Cup final. That was part of
That's
Bob
fair.
Bradley. He was not just going to sit still and do the same thing everybody had always done. He was trying to do something different. Now, it didn't come with all the kumbaya that Jurgen Klinsmann brings, and it was late in the game, and he had already coached a World Cup, but he was trying. By the way, just to kind of review the Hall of Fame situation, the three people in, you had to have at least 66.7% of the ballots to get in. So these are the only three people that got 66.7% of the vote of ballots cast. Okay, people could vote for up to 10 candidates. The people who are off the ballot now, they were in their last year of eligibility and didn't get in: Raul Diaz Arce, Marco Echeverri, Cindy Parlow. So Echeverri, who you mentioned,
I mean, obviously, as I can't remember what they call that slot that gets in the also ran. It's not not true Americans, but giving to the game kind of like.
That they don't. I don't think they really split it up that way anymore. Those people are treated as players just like all of the U.S. internationals.
I thought they were segregated. They're not segregated?
No, absolutely not. In fact, the player ballot this year was Armis.
And if that's the case, then no one's a player like Echeverri is never going to displace a McBride.
No, of course not, and probably won't get enough votes because he wasn't a U.S. international, which I don't think is unfair. I mean, Marco Echeverri was an amazing player for DC.
And it's tough for a player like that because he's so polarizing too. Because do you think an LA fan from the '90s is going to vote for Marco Echeverri?
Something like that.
Despite how good he is.
Yeah, I'm just looking over this list. Clint Mathis was in his first year of eligibility, didn't get in. Wonder if he will. Steve Ralston, first year of eligibility, didn't get in. Brianna Scurry.
Chris Armas missed, right?
Chris Armas missed.
Chris Armas had played one. If he had made one World Cup team, he'd be in. That's how good Chris Armas was.
Chris Henderson missed. Eddie Lewis. Let's see. I'm looking.
When you think about it, though, I kind of get it in almost all those regards. Even with Clint Mathis, a guy that was so big, was big for a very short window of time at the national team level.
Clint Mathis exploded beyond soccer for a little while.
Oh yeah. I mean, just think about it, if he had worked. I one time when I got a chance to interview him for I think it was this show. We had him on the show here. When we had him on the show here, I remember asking him if he had any regrets about coming back when RSL kicked off and he fulfilled the promise to I can break down the coach's name, John Ellinger, and came back. I mean, you could hear the regret and like maybe it wasn't the right thing. Maybe a lot of other guys wouldn't have done it, and his career would have been better for it. I mean, he was doing well at Hanover. I know he had ticked his clock a couple of times, and that wasn't going over well, but he was still playing well over there.
Yeah. Okay, so that was your player ballot. McBride and Christine Lilly, both very, again, super.
Christine Lilly, one of the most all-time deserving U.S. players of any gender.
There's no argument of keeping Christine Lilly out. There's really no argument of keeping Brian McBride out. It was just a matter of whether or not he'd go in first ballot because this was his first year of eligibility, Brian McBride. So he goes in first time. Again, deserving. Is there any forward who has meant more to U.S. soccer than Brian McBride in the history of the team?
I can't say that Landon Donovan, but he's not there yet.
Well, but Landon Donovan is also a
midfielder. I know all that. Let me ask you a question. Close your eyes real quick. Picture Brian McBride. What does he look like?
What is happening?
When you picture Brian McBride, what does he look like?
He's bloody.
That's how I do it. That's exactly. I think every U.S. fan, when they close their eyes, they see a bloody Brian McBride. Yeah. That, my friend, is iconic.
He's bloody. He puts his head in everywhere. I remember I think if I thought past the blood, the celebration on the goal against Portugal in the 2002 World Cup, the kind of fist pumping running thing that he did.
Very white.
Dove to the back post. Oh, he's the whitest man in America.
Oh, that's a pretty. Listen, I would. A question for you: who dances better, Brian McBride or? It's not Travis Knight. Who's the guy for the Lakers that was such a bad dancer?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Mike something. Yeah.
I'm blanking. But you could just imagine if he's up on a podium, if they won the World Cup, what would my Brian McBride's dance look like?
But see, that's the thing about Brian McBride. I think he's so white he wouldn't even try to dance. Like Brian McBride, I get the feeling Brian McBride has never done anything but a slow dance in his life, like at a wedding, like at his wedding. That's the only dancing Brian McBride has ever done. Like that's
I think he cuts a rug. It's just that everyone tells him he's a good dancer. Everyone tells him he's a good dancer. Okay. Just so they can keep watching him dance.
This is a good debate, and unfortunately, this is probably going to get back to Brian McBride. We're both going to feel like jerks.
I got a better question for you. Who's the best dancer on the 2002 World Cup team?
Yeah. That's not really a pick your poison because I don't have two options. The best dancer in the 2002 World Cup team.
I got my answer. I got two. Ooh, I have a tough one right now.
2002.
Let me give you a pick your poison. Let me narrow it down to two for you.
Reyna was on that team but didn't play, right? So
I'm going to pick Claudio Reyna? Come on, boy. I got two for you. You need to pick between.
Okay, fine. Go for
Kobe
it.
Jones.
Yes, okay.
Or Pablo Mastroeni.
I'm going to go with the Latin.
Argentine. One's Argentine, man. He's got it in his blood.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Latin dude. I'm going to go with Pablo. Because Kobe doesn't.
I'm just going to give you one out here, okay? Kobe Jones spent a lot of time in the club.
No, I have no doubt that he did, but I don't know.
At MTV
maybe
House.
at the MTV Beach House, right? Yeah. I don't know. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go with Pablo on that. I think.
Sometimes we really digress on this show, don't we?
That's what makes us spectacular. What are you talking about? I want to know from the people. Brian McBride, good dancer, bad dancer. I want to know what the people think. Just your.
I want someone to send in some camera phone footage if they have it.
Hall of Fame soccer player.
And if he does dance, it's Lionel Richie, right?
Yeah, or Michael McDonald probably.
Dancing on the ceiling.
Okay, so we talked about Bob Bradley a little bit. The builder ballot, just to go through it, the guys who didn't get in. Chuck Blazer.
God. I want to know what percentage of vote he got.
Gianfranco Barini, Bob Bradley. I can never say the dude's name. Bob, former head coach. Bob how do you say his name?
Contiguglia?
Yeah, that guy. Contiguglia. Don Garber, Burton Himes, Francisco Marcos, USL guy. impresario, Fritz Marth, and Siggy Schmid. So there you go.
So Ziggy's been not in. You know, it's fair to say if Bob Bradley hadn't been in, Ziggy Schmid probably would have won in that field, correct?
Well, again, it's not necessarily somebody has to be picked. There could have been no builders voted in this year. Bob Bradley gets in. This is actually a credit to Bob Bradley. Bob Bradley gets in now because of everything he's done in Egypt, because of the profile he's built as a
That's a good question. Does Bob Bradley win 2 years ago?
Does he get
voted into Hall of Fame 2 years ago?
No, he does not. Not even a sniff.
I think that's accurate.
No. Question here on Twitter from Dan in Columbus Till I Die. Is Frankie Hayduk a first ballot Hall of Famer?
In my heart, yes.
In my personal Hall of Fame, Frankie Hayduk's already there, yeah. But no, he's not in yet.
Nah, you know, it's funny though. I mean, if you think about it, he was doing his thing in Europe when a lot of guys in America weren't doing it.
No, Frankie's got a legit.
He's got the pedigree. He's got the resume.
He's got a legit resume, but he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's not. He's just not.
Here's the thing, though. It's all about Mark Madsen. You're right. It was Mark Madsen. Mad Dog. The thing about Frankie Hayduk is that this is a popularity contest. 66% of the vote, right? Mm-hmm. Luckily, it's not with fans. If it was with fans, Frankie Hayduk would get in, right? Because it's media, former players, and all that kind of stuff. Frankie Hayduk will not make it.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it'll take a little. I don't know if he gets in. That's a good question. I mean, again, he's got a resume, but is he on that level?
MLS Cup winner.
There's also a veteran.
Three World Cups for Frankie Hayduk, I believe. 98, 2002, 2006.
Sounds.
Did he go in 2000? He didn't go in 2010, right?
No.
I thought maybe he's locker room guy. I couldn't remember. He was involved in that lead up to that though.
Yes, he was. He played. I remember him playing. I remember him playing in Honduras and scoring a goal, coming on late and scoring a goal or something like that.
I think so. I think you're correct on that.
Wow, faded memories. There's a veteran ballot as well. Just to give you an idea, I think these are players who have been retired for more than 10 years. And I guess this is for the ones who played before 90 and therefore the cap limit is low. I don't know. Whatever. Veteran candidates are a different category. On this list, Mike Burns, Dom Kinnear, Frank Klopas, Shep Messing, Glenn Meyernick, Mike Sorber. Tattoo is on this list. So I don't know exactly what that ballot is.
It's interesting. I want a listener to do the work on this because I'm way too lazy. But if I had to ask you, do you think there's more UCLA or Virginia Hall of Famers?
Wow.
And then I also want the follow-up, someone to do work on who is that more MLS MLS players, UCLA or Virginia.
Yeah, somebody get on that because I have no idea. I'm not going to just guess. I would be flipping.
I'm going to guess Virginia because DC United had like a really, I don't know, man. UCLA's put out a lot of products though, but I'd be really interested to know which of those two schools has more representation.
Do you want to before we run out of time, you have to at least give me your impressions of that Archer episode. I know this is a thing we do, and I feel like I got to jam it in here a little bit.
Pam gets hotter every episode.
But again, is this a problem?
No, here's what happened, okay? So Lana's getting fat because she got a baby, okay? So they got to make someone else sexy. So they made they made Lana fat, so they had to make Pam skinny, and they're making Charlene into like a really hot country chick, which bothers me because I hate country music, but she looks good in some Daisy Dukes.
Okay, so we're good with Charlene and that whole storyline. Like that's fun.
Why not?
Right? Okay. The blocker and the Trans Am and the smoke.
That's all great. That's all great. Stuff. So, like the CB name Snowball.
Yeah. The whole thing was pretty brilliant.
Pam makes me Randy.
Okay. Hey, man.
It's not doing it for you?
No, it is. The gratuitous butt shot was hilarious. Like that wasn't even.
Oh yeah. It was just all up in your face. First of all, as a lover of Burt Reynolds movies, like in the 80s and late 70s, like
of course,
Cannonball Run. I can't tell you how many times I watched Cannonball Run in the 80s on VHS.
Yeah, I have to get a couple drops from Cannonball Run.
By the way, did I tell you I went to a funeral on Friday, so that's a downer. But the priest that did the service was one of the most entertaining priests I've ever. And I swear it was the Latin version of Dean Martin from Cannonball Run.
Dean Martin, brilliant in Cannonball Run.
He's super greasy. Like you can't tell, is he a real priest? Is he not?
Sammy Davis and Dean Martin are the best thing about that movie. And there's a lot of great stuff about that movie, but they are one of the best things about that movie.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that it has a very young Jackie Chan.
Yes, as one of the Japanese drivers. He's Chinese, but he's driving whatever works, right?
If you're young and you've never seen Cannonball Run, do yourself a favor. Go find wherever you can find it and treat yourself. Treat yourself to Cannonball Run.
I feel like at this point, with a generation younger than us, that the outtakes thing from Cannonball Run is almost bigger than the movie itself.
Oh, it was one of the first movies that I remember that did outtakes at the end.
Yeah,
And they were just cracking up. But here's the thing. If you're young, you're 25 and listen to this show, first of all, God bless you. Second of all, you don't know who Dom DeLuise is. You don't know who a lot of these guys. You may not even know who D. Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. are, and for that, I hate you. But go back and do your work. Do your work. Go back and watch the movie catalog of Harold Ramis, rest in peace, and go watch yourself some Cannonball Run. Do yourself a favor. Know the world.
Yeah, I'm looking at my board here. I don't have any way to pay tribute to Harold Ramis. That's terrible. I don't have a Ghostbusters job, right?
Man. I don't think we have a Ghostbusters job.
I don't have a Ghostbusters job. I don't have any.
I can find one. I need to go watch it and find you. I could get one from Stripes or Caddyshack. We don't have a Groundhog Day drop.
No, I should have prepared better. Phil, I should have prepared better. Absolutely.
There's no MLS or US player named Phil though, is there?
Not at the moment. Tolstoy ABQ on Twitter. You telling me Frankie Adu can't dance? Is he a candidate for best dancer?
Oh, he was on 2002. That's a white horse, not a dark horse. That's a white horse candidate.
Well, yeah, but it's
he got one move though, right?
To establish what best means, because Frankie will tear it up and you'll have a blast watching him do it. That doesn't mean he's good at it.
Yeah, it does his energy match the maybe smoothness of a smooth and great stepping steps of a veteran dancer. I mean, he's going to make up for it in effort.
Yeah. All right. Another topic I definitely want to get to before we get out. We only have a couple of minutes left. Mike McGee is holding out, Jared. He is interested in getting a new contract after his MVP season. I don't think anybody blames him. Is this a bad thing for him to do? Is it a disruption? Is he handling this the wrong way, et cetera?
Here's what's funny. If this is Eddie Johnson, what are we saying about it?
We're saying it's an attitude problem.
Okay. If Mike McGee does it, what do we say?
Well, okay. Here's the difference, and I understand the line of thinking, and it's definitely out there. But Eddie Johnson has a history, and he kind of, that works against him. Mike McGee doesn't have this history. In fact, I suppose you could
also say that Mike McGee doesn't have the scoring history of Eddie Johnson.
That is true too. That is certainly true. I have no problem with players trying to get as much as they can in their short careers, especially coming off a career year like Mike McGee just had.
I'm just saying. I'm gonna say the same thing about this. I can't remember what it was I was talking about. I had a conversation a few months ago. Maybe it was about Eddie Johnson. About this is a big timing kind of move. That's a big sports move in a smaller sport environment. Yeah. I can't remember another time that a MLS player has held out. Like you have something like Camilo did where he left. That's not the same thing as a holdout. This is one of the first holdouts I remember, and this is a move that you see all over American professional sports.
I don't remember specifically what I said, but I don't believe that at any point I said Eddie Johnson was wrong to ask for more money. Now you could make
how you choose to handle yourself.
You could make a distinction about whether or not this thing is the right way to go about it, and the same thing for D-Row in Toronto with the check signing deal. If
you can make the case that this is worse, to be honest with you, you're letting down your teammates by not showing up. You're not going to be prepared for the start of the season. It's a more selfish thing, you could say.
Well, the whole thing is selfish. I mean, let's flat out say that this is a selfish move for any player to hold out. The one saving grace maybe for Mike McGee that you could argue is, well, he's doing it preseason. He's going to get his, and he's going to
show up for game one though.
Well, that's the thing. If he doesn't show up for game one, then we roast him. I mean, we absolutely torch him, because if you're going to make this move, make your threat. If it doesn't come to fruition, they don't want to pay you right now, and you still have a contract. Play your contract.
$161,000 a year for Mike McGee currently. Underpaid?
Yeah, he's worth probably around double that on last year's numbers, but he's got to repeat it too. And he had good enough years in LA that you could argue he's underpaid just from those years. You tack on last year, he's absolutely underpaid.
Is Frank Yallop the wrong guy to be dealing with this kind of situation? Well, I guess technically he's the coach. I wish he's not going to be the guy doing this. But Frank Yallop's used to guys on a cheap, on a bargain.
Wasn't Frank Yallop still there when Wando got his?
Okay, but Wondolowski had 4 great years in a row. That move handled itself.
Oh yeah, and I hope Mike McGee's not asking for 7 figures because he's not worth that and he shouldn't be getting it.
No, he won't get that. But I would think in the 3 to 350 range is acceptable for Mike McGee, and based on the fact that he doesn't have the track record as a goal scorer, he has a track record as a fantastic MLS player that plays well under pressure and rises to big occasions. But that's not enough when you're talking about big money.
Right. We're done. We're out of time. We can't talk anymore. Please go to iTunes ratings and reviews. Follow Jay Rodius on Twitter. What else? Nothing? Anything else?
Follow Jay Davis JSN as well.
Yeah, do all that and send us some tweets and interact with us because we like you people. Bye.
Best. I'm Epic Win.
Duh and or hello. I wouldn't be caught dead in a sweater vest.
Jay Rodius.